Honorable Zungula?
Okay.
Okay. Proceed.
Okay. Yeah. I was greeting everyone, Minister, colleagues, Chair. I'll also try to keep it very brief, because I think, Chair, the biggest problem that we're facing here is how the sovereignty is basically surrendered. And because of how the department is either showing incompetence or collusion when it comes to some of the corrupt elements that we find in the private sector when it comes to having contracts with the state, because the department claims to have disqualified Terror for collusion, yet the very same tender they disqualified them for, they now own it. And this is as a result of the department failing to perform basic financial due diligence on bankrupt subsidiaries. Now, unfortunately, the door was left wide open for a banned company to become the sole savior. In my view, this is just corporate hijacking or collusion, incompetence, which is facilitated by the department that's very weak to do proper audits and too toothless to blacklist. But I do want to ask, Chair, when it comes to the minister, his own understanding of what local is, because we hear a lot of the minister saying they are local suppliers. But what's your understanding of a local supplier? By means of an example, Aurabindo imported $46 million in the last tender, but is still listed as local. When I come to the morphine questions, whilst the department is bragging about having multiple suppliers for ARVs, 100% of our morphine powder supply is basically taken care of by one single struggling company. Basically, that company now has a monopoly on pain relief. And I just need to ask, who then decided that there should be no backup plan for dying patients when it comes to the morphine aspect? And then on the TRV, how are the financial problems not picked up? The department's due diligence process include a review of the audited financial statements of these companies, parent company, which is Avacare? And if so, how did it miss such imminent insolvency? Because in my understanding, it is commonplace to audit parent companies in this case, and like it has happened now, the department failed to do so. The other issue is when it's dealing with SARPRA, because SARPRA flagged contamination risks at BAR's Cape Town facility in 2021, 23, and 2025, August 2025, which is the very same month which the department awarded them this multi-billion rand contract. And SARPRA did order a closure of the BAR's factory in September 2025, which is 1 month after the tender was awarded and barely 3 months before implementation. Now, the department chair has to answer why is there zero integration between what SARPRA inspects and orders closure versus the National Department's procurement board? Why is there no formal interagency red flag system that automatically disqualifies a bidder when their manufacturing facility is under a notice of non-compliance from our own national regulator? And what makes this, Chair, to be really sad and upsetting is that SARPRA falls under the department. So we're not even talking about an institution that falls in another department where, one can say it's interdepartment incompetence or there's no integration. You're talking about SARPRA that falls under the department, and the department is failing to pick up the red flags and failing to pick up non-closure, notice of non-compliance from the very same SAPA that is under them as a department. And then when it comes to the foreign aspect, Minister, the government sector master plans and the PFMA emphasizes the prioritization of local manufacturing to build industrial resilience. Therefore, why is it that a 15.5 billion tender, the lion's share of that volume is awarded to foreign multinationals and their subsidiaries, while the established local South African-owned firms with proven delivery were sidelined or given marginal shares? Because I find this to be very problematic, Chair, because the department and the country will talk about how bad unemployment is, but at the same time, they'll go out of their way to give contracts to multinational companies who do not create jobs in the country. And local suppliers, they are given issues or they are sidelined when it comes to the procurement. And I just need to ask that, has the department abandoned its commitment to local industrialization in favor of the lowest possible bid price, from foreign entities? And then the last question, Chair, is about Kitlapile. It's so disappointing that in 2007, there was a cabinet resolution on the issue. We're sitting now 19 years later, there is still no localization or no state pharmaceutical company, yet South Africa procures or distributes millions of ARVs, whilst the price might have been hefty at the time, which is in 2007. Surely as the company is growing and, competence is being raised, it would get to an extent whereby the prices would even up and would not have a problem of having expensive production of ARVs. Now, especially when there is a set demand, because we've got an HIV issue that is dealt with via the ARVs. Now, the fact that there's no state capacity being built to deal with this particular problem, yet the competence is there when it comes to Kitlapile. However, you find that there's no political will. Maybe for me, it points to a picture of the department, some politicians, some officials actually benefiting from the destabilization of state capacity in favor of these foreign multinationals. And Chair, I think it's something that we need to raise strongly to the department to say we can't have a consistent demand for ARVs, but not care to build local capacity, state capacity to provide solutions to that problem, especially when there is competence in the sense that there is capacity from Kitlapile to do that. However, it's just that the department does not want to go there. I just wanted to raise that, Chair, that it is so disappointing. It's very disappointing that there is that, particularly in light of the high unemployment rate that we have, that is a crisis, and there's a solution to deal with that high unemployment rate. However, the people that are in power are deciding to put profits, to put their own patronage networks ahead of dealing with the crisis of unemployment and dealing with the issues of building state capacity to provide solutions to the problems that we face as a country. Thank you.